Hello, my name is Micah Glover, and today I'm going to be showing you the basics of pen and ink technique. So first, let's go over the materials that you're going to need. You're going to need like a pencil. It can be a fine art pencil, it can be a number 2 pencil, whatever. And you're also going to need a pen, your pen. Now this is a little bit more important. You don't want to use a ballpoint pen or a gel pen for this. What you're going to want is either a fine art pen, or if you're on a budget like I am, either a fine tipped Sharpie or an ultra fine tipped Sharpie. The other thing to keep in mind is your paper. This ink is going to bleed through your paper, odds are, unless you have very thick paper. So make sure there's nothing important underneath whatever you're drawing on. Okay, so the basic idea with pen and ink technique is that it provides a means of shading that at the same time adds texture. Now, I know I said that you should sketch things out with a pencil first. I'm not doing that at the moment because I'm just drawing a sphere. But if I was drawing something more complicated, like I will later on in the video, I would absolutely sketch it out first. Now, the first technique I'm showing you here is called hatching. And with hatching, you're basically drawing parallel or roughly parallel lines, putting in more lines where you want it darker, and fewer lines or even no lines where you want it lighter. See how I'm putting in more lines to darken in the shadow. Now, the next thing I'm going to pull out of my little bag of tricks here is called cross-hatching. And cross-hatching is kind of the same idea, except instead of all the lines being roughly parallel, you'll have a bunch of lines going in one direction, then you'll have a bunch of lines going in a different direction, and maybe even a third direction. But the idea remains the same. The more marks you put on the paper, the darker it's going to look. Now, the last nifty little trick here I'm going to show you is called stippling. Now, I'm going to give you a fair warning about stippling. On one hand, it gives you incredible control and it can look really nice. The downside is it is by far the most time-consuming and tedious form of pen and ink technique. So, to save your own sanity and your own wrist from not being incredibly sore, I would recommend using stippling in small areas, unless you have a lot more patience than I do. Now at this point you're probably thinking, well, this is all well and good and fun and great, but what's something more fun that I can apply this to than just drawing spheres? Well, my favorite thing to draw using pen and ink technique is animals, specifically cats, and part of the reason for this is hatching makes for a really nice fur texture, so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that now.